Hello everyone, welcome to episode 4 of the Ghastly Media Podcast. Joining me tonight we have Gabriel Arias.
Yo.
Truds.
Hello.
Tim.
Hey, what's up?
And Gamer.
Hey, what's up?
And of course your host, me, Carlos, also known as Orfeo. So tonight is all about PlayStation Home. PlayStation announced a while back officially that PlayStation Home is coming to its end. For those who aren't familiar with home closing, let me read a message I was sent by Gamer. The community management team for Europe and North America both have announced that PlayStation Home will cease publishing new content on November 12th, 2014. Players will have until December 3rd, 2014 to buy content, but PlayStation Home will completely go offline forever on March 31st, 2015, which means we'll no longer be able to access PlayStation Home. And you can check up PlayStation's official forums for the announcement. So, going forward, how does everyone feel about PlayStation Home finally reaching its conclusion, finally coming to an end? I mean, it's been a great ride. What do you think, Gabriel?
Well, actually, I to be honest, I think, we got so much out of PlayStation Home, and this is like one thing I always told the team and everybody here. It's like, we use PlayStation Home, for what it was and what it was designed for. And, I mean, we used it to the fullest of its capabilities, and, look where it brought us today. We developed an incredible community. To be honest, we got everything that we can get out of it. I'm pretty much very satisfied with PlayStation Home. It ran its course. It did its job. But like I said, everything, nothing lasts forever. The way I see it is that, we got something out of it. We got something that we're going to keep, and it's going to carry over to the next gen. I'm not regretting anything. I'm not going to miss anything. To me, it's just something that's like, this is just part of the timeline. It's just going to become history, and we're just going to keep moving forward. Looking to the next best thing. But yeah, Home did its job, and it did its job like very well. And I mean, a long time ago in an interview with Drew's Days, there's some of the things I said that PlayStation Home offered a lot of possibilities that people took advantage, and it was a big shame. We took advantage of those potentials and those possibilities, and yeah, man, we went to E3 multiple times. We created an awesome machinima team that won awards, and we've done so much with it. We got to see and meet so many awesome people. I'm satisfied, and to be honest, like every other server, I'm not surprised. An online-only service, everything does have to come to an end at some point. MAG, that ended actually pretty quick. And PlayStation Home, lasted pretty long. But I think that about 5-6 years running, that's pretty decent. That's not bad. That's a good chunk of the whole PS3's life cycle.
Yeah, you're
when
right.
It came out. So PS3 came out 2006. Days Home was like 2008 when it was closed beta, open beta 2009. I think we can't complain, man. We actually got a lot out of it. It was something that was originally designed for the PS2. It was held back, and they actually released it for the PS3. So people asking for it to be on the PS4, it's like, well, you're asking for something that was originally designed on the PS2. Why don't we get something better? Why don't we look forward to something that has more potential than Home?
Well, talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
What about you, Gamer? How do you feel about Home coming to a close?
As of right now, my feelings now are way different from back in the day. So I was like, honestly, I could care less about Home. So I was like, honestly, I don't want to see anything like Home come to the PS4, mostly because of the audience that it kind of got later in its life. So it's like, oh, it's fine. Like, then there's all these people on Home, but like they don't play anything except for like Call of Duty or I don't know, like Little Big Planet or something, and then they get Home. talk or whatever it sounds like. Back in the day, home was advertised as like a place for gamers to be talk about games, watch their games, and all that. And so I was like that's what drew me in. I mean, so I was like, you would check my trophies and whatnot. I got over 6,000 trophies, like 77 platinum. So that's 77 finals. It's like I play games. I don't want to like get on home and talk to people who want to talk about like their drama at work or like family problems. So I was like, I want to talk about games and like have fun. Just like hanging out. And so I was like, I don't want to deal with like drama. It's like that's not what I got to play.
Yeah, there's some. I agree.
So like if there's not something like that thing that comes to the PS4, I want nothing to do with it. And like with the way home is now, it's like I really don't care.
Okay, so you sort of lost a passion for PlayStation Home. Then you feel that it was a good service, but it's just kind of run its course.
The people,
dude, home compared from like 2009 to today, it's a lot different. Like the mentality that's on there, the user interest, it's not the same.
What do you think,
at all?
What do I think? I'm in the same feeling a gamer. I really don't care about it anymore. I never cared about it. The only reason that I actually got on there was because of the Helghast. That was the only medium in which we could conduct ourselves in a professional manner. So, it's cool for what it did. But I will say this, it's Sony's most successful failure. When it started out, I'm going to keep this short. When it started out, I think a lot of people who were in home thought that Sony was going to make this like the next like Sims. This is going to be like the next big thing. And when it didn't take off the way that they envisioned it, they just said, you know what, let's just make this a place for people who don't like to play games and for them to just come here and have fun. A few gripes I had with home, I never liked the connections. I thought the spaces were very linear. I didn't really have that much in common with anyone on there but this group and the people who brought in a few gems here and there. But other than that, I don't really have much else to say. I didn't really care about home. I appreciate it for what it did, but no love lost here, and I'm looking forward to PS4. So I'm gonna pass that back to you, Roger.
Actually, if I may speak for a second, with that thing about being Sony's most successful failure, I remember reading an article that like End Dreams posted something about that, and so I was like, one of the things I agree with in that post is that they said that Home was originally like Phil Harrison's baby, and it's like he left like shortly after Home launched. It's like that's part of the reason why Home like almost immediately started going downhill.
Yeah, that's a good possibility.
It lost its identity.
Yeah.
Or what it wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
Or how it was supposed to be raised.
Yeah, when you have a project that's passionately driven by someone and they leave the project, it's kind of like, I mean, it will always change. Right. Yeah, it may get better, it may get worse, but it always changes. I mean, look at how God of War turned out after David Jaffe left. I mean, that was his baby. That was his franchise. He created it, and then it kind of like figured away. And when he was interviewed later on, asking what he thought of the franchise and how he would have envisioned it going forward, it was completely different from what the developers had done with it. Not to say it was better or worse, but it was definitely different. What about you, Tim? How do you feel about PlayStation Home coming up?
Well, personally, I'm a little bit sad because, when it first started out, I didn't really get on it much, but after I made a few friends, I would spend, like, quite a bit of time on there, and I bought a lot of stuff, and I did a lot of decorating, and a lot of that stuff led to me actually making videos on there. We actually just wrapped up officially the last skit that we're going to do for Ghastly Studios on PlayStation Home. And part of that's because, well, it's coming to a close, and I actually would have liked more time to go out and do more skits and things that I initially didn't have time for, because I was always busy doing other stuff. I will be sad to see it go, but I mean, like Sun said, everything's come to an end, so it comes to an end, it comes to an end.
Everything has its time eventually. I mean, I agree with what Jin says. The creative aspect of Home, that's something that I didn't really see with like much other platforms. I mean, they gave you the they gave you the ability to use a green screen. Loot was able to go ahead and provide like all these things for recording. You have all these costumes to choose from. I would work on videos. I get messages like, where'd you get these character models from? And it's like, nah, it was all provided PlayStation Home. I mean, they were the source that allowed us to do a lot of the projects that we've done. And you take that away, you think about like, well, what are we gonna do next? The thing is, we're creative. We'll figure out a way. I'm not worried about it because I know the team. I know what they're capable of. I know what I'm capable of. I'm not worried about it. Whatever we go, we're gonna deliver the same product.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality I have. I'm not really sweating it. So.
I agree.
Yeah. And to be honest, I actually probably wouldn't be where I am today had I not actually been on home because of the all of the opportunities that I had to act or write scripts and do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All of us here, man.
Yeah, we've gone over the history of Guns of the Helghast, and we're not going to go through it again, at least for this episode. But yeah, it started as a Killzone 2 clan and PlayStation Home, as Trun said. Yeah, that kind of manifested, made it stronger, made it more whole, and because of PlayStation Home, I'm with Guns of the Helghast now, as is Tim, and a lot of our other members.
Home was originally built for clans, bro, to like grow, and
it did. Ours did.
it worked.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. It's a shame that not that many other clans out there took advantage of that. Very, very few. Not many, a handful of them.
Yeah. So I'll be sad to see PlayStation Home go. I mean, there'll always be a soft spot for me for PlayStation Home, but I think it did, at least for us as a group, what it was meant to do. And for that, I will always be grateful to both PlayStation Home and to Sony for providing that service.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's part of our emblem, bro.
But now, why do you think PlayStation is letting PlayStation Home go? Why do you think they're not transferring? I mean, as you said before, Gabriel, it was originally designed to be on PlayStation 2, so the concept itself is now 2 generations old.
It is.
But you don't think they could maybe do something to it, or you don't think there would be no interest in the majority of people, or perhaps the new influx of gamers who are adopting PlayStation 4 that may never have had a system before? You don't think they might like something like that? Like, what do you think, Truns? Why do you think PlayStation is letting Home go?
Why I think PlayStation is letting them go, because I think it's just time for it to move on. I think we're going to be saying this phrase a lot throughout this episode. All things must come to an end. It's as simple as that when it comes to something like PlayStation. I don't want to get too lengthy in what I'm trying to say, but I guess the best way to put it is that the reason why PlayStation is letting go of it is the fact that PlayStation 4 is now out, PS4 is thriving in the market, and they want to focus all their efforts onto something that can, because extra servers can always help. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that this was taking up like a whole an office space of servers, but the more servers you can have for a game, the more people you can have, to contribute to another project. Or who knows, man? Like, who really knows? Maybe a few years from now, maybe even, who knows? PlayStation might come out with another PlayStation Home for PlayStation 4. They might come out with a new concept, where it's like, a kind of a social network for PlayStation 4 users. But I guess, I'm sorry, I'm getting away from the question. Why they let go of Home? Time to focus on PS4 and everything that PlayStation 4 accomplished. I'm sorry, everything that PlayStation Home accomplished is no longer needed in this new generation. So I think that's probably what they let it go. They probably got tired of it.
PS4 is pretty much a social interface on its own. You don't really need something like Home. I mean, you already have the party chat, the assembly. I mean, you're pretty much seeing what the PS4 is going to be doing, where you can go ahead and watch your friend play a game, and you can just jump into that game. That's kind of that's going to be like the new version, the next gen version of game launching. Straight from the UI. You don't even have to log into Home or anything like that to meet up with your friends. You can just jump in there, meet up at a time. We all jump in, and I think that's going to be like the next thing. So something like Home is like it's already kind of out of the way, a little dated and obsolete.
You feel the same, Tim?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, a lot of like different companies have different perspectives on this, but like some companies they made quite a bit of money off of it, off home, and some companies like say Happy Water didn't make a whole lot of money off of it. It was actually going the opposite way, so I mean, it depends. And also part of the deal with PlayStation Home is in itself it actually is a game. I mean, it's a social game, and with games, you know, you have to keep coming out with new content and DLC and whatnot, and I imagine that takes up quite a bit of time. And some people are just like, hey, you know what? We want to go do something else. We don't want to keep doing this. The benefits outweigh the costs, then, you know, you can keep doing it, but also if you kind of get tired of it, then I can see why, you know, people will be like, hey, you know what? This was cool, but we're going to go do something else. And imagine they can take that and learn from it and go and, you know, make other aspects of it in different games if they want to.
I can
Imagine.
see home developers incorporating, if they choose to go in and make games, like such as End Dreams is doing, if there is an element that people really clung to in PlayStation Home, I can see them adopting those concepts and putting them to other games that they're working on. And yeah, I would have to agree with you. It seems like not only developers, but people in home, not everyone in home, because there'll always be that hardcore minority who will just cling to home till the very end. But I think a lot of people who were in home, they feel like, you know, they want to move on to something else. They want to do something else. And, you know, it might just be time to walk away. What
Yeah.
about you, gamer?
Back to the question, Slime was like, why do I think that Sony's let home go? Well, well, with the whole PS4 thing, it's like Sony is spending a lot on the PS4, and Sony is like trying to push that out to people. It's like they spend a lot of money for advertising for it. Home is like, especially with the way it is now, it's like super slow, and it's like you get errors. It's like people just get annoyed with it. It's like, why would you waste your time spending money to improve something that's broken? And when like you can like put money towards a new system that's like pretty much selling like hotcakes against the competition. With like the developer saying thing for Home and Slams, like I feel that like we may get something like Home on the PS4 eventually. I'm not really looking forward to it, but like I've heard was it's like
We'll get to that.
I know, but like I'm just saying, it's like I don't recall like how far games like all of them they all want to do something like Home, but because like I don't know they I don't understand how those developers like Home so much. I just don't.
I mean, I don't know. I guess it's just a social interaction. They can release like content, simple content. I mean, people would buy it anytime they release a new content. It could be anything. Socks. I'm buying it. The latest socks or whatever.
Some of the other developers like End Dreams they're working on a game for Project Morpheus. I know a lot of Lockwood they made their own social network called Advocate for tablets. So it's like some of these developers are like moving in their own directions. Like apparently some want to do something like Home.
Yeah.
And some developers kind of started in PlayStation Home. Like we really didn't know who some of these developers were until PlayStation Home. And yeah, they've gained.
They started off with they made 2 T-shirts. Luke started just making 2 T-shirts on Home, and then they went on to this, and now they're making PS4 games.
Yeah,
they're making indie games for PS4 now.
That's wonderful for them. Yeah.
Yeah.
They recently came out with that one game, Flustercluck, that just came out this week.
Yeah. I mean that's pretty cool. So you got like developers that I mean a lot of people like I mean not only did the community grow with something like Home, but even developers did. Home offered a lot of potential, and you know I think for people that were there late for the party, I mean they missed out. I mean I wish a lot of people could have seen Home what it was in its early days and you know stuck with it. But I mean, it's a shame, man, because you just see like this awesome empire just little by little, like just kind of like wither away. I mean, like, man, I remember going on there and like before everyone was excited. 2009. If you go on home, you say, hey, would you want to be part of a clan? Everyone's like, wait, what? Really? I can be part of your clan? Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, for sure. I'll go ahead and be. I want to be part of a clan because back then, being part of a clan, you had to. It meant like you had to meet a certain KDR. You had to meet a certain requirement. You were only accepted if you were good enough. But going on home and say, back in 2009, so you want to be part of a clan, like people were so open to it, they'll join easily, and we were able to expand because of that. But over time, I think if you have a lot of communities out there, because you got good and you got bad, unfortunately. Sometimes, you got the bad apples, and they would not, represent the best colors. They'll get people wanting to join them or be part of their community, and then stuff, and it kind of taints it. So what happens is you got the people that get away from that, and then when you ask them, hey, would you want to join a clan? They're like, no, I don't want to be part of anything like that. You guys are like, I don't want to mix myself with that. That's drama, or this is whatever, that happens.
And PlayStation might want to distance itself from that drama, so that makes sense.
Unfortunately, home has been a haven for. It's sad to say, but there's been a lot of like counter groups or hate groups towards people within home, blacklisting groups, and created using these medians. And that it sucks to see that, and this is kind of why we can't have nice things. It's like, wow, like, I'm just happy that we were there very early before this stuff started happening. I mean, that stuff was there, but it didn't really take off. It didn't really go as it is now. Now it's a Wild West when you get on home if you go there now. But like back then, I mean, it was actually breathable. You're actually able to go outside and breathe the fresh air of what home was and be able to do what you wanted to do.
Well,
and
let's talk a bit about back then, or what happened to those from back then. I know you have some good stuff to say on this, so I want to let you start off on this. But what do you think will happen to all of the big PlayStation home clubs, the well-known ones, the Hammies, the Homelings? You can tell those out there listening what will happen to Guns of the Helghast. Also, what do you think will happen to the websites that cover PlayStation Home exclusively, like PSO Magazine and Alpha Zone 4?
Oh, man. It's hard to speak. I can't speak for somebody else. I can speak for me.
Speak for you.
Before we got on PlayStation Home, we were always a clan. We were a Killzone 2 clan, a small Killzone 2 clan, but we always had to thrive on gaming. We always had a purpose. We had something to fall back on. And it was cool. We used home as a hub because that's what it was built for. Ever since I saw a trailer back then debuting home. It showed these guys meeting up. They're gonna setting up for a game of Warhawk. They're at the Warhawk space. They're planning out their strategies, and then the game launched. I saw that, and I fell in love with it. I'm like, we're gonna be doing that. But there's other communities out there in home that gathered socially. They didn't really play games, but I would say right now, they're a really fun bunch. The Homelings, the Hammies, they're a positive bunch. I like them a lot. I met other groups on there too, and as for what they do, like I remember, speaking to them. I talked to some of them about game nights. All of them were extremely diverse when it came to interest. They were like scattered everywhere. Did they have a common game? Not as much, but they did have something in common. They got along with each other, and they had a strong bond. So, I think that wherever they do go, I think it will be somewhere geared something as a social, something like kind of casual. It has to be something casual because that's the only way you can bring so many people in there. You're not going to get everybody to join a competitive game. They're not going to do that. I know that a lot of them aren't going to be up for that, but I think that what these indie devs on home, such as what they're doing, like as Neotopia and stuff like that, I think that would be a great place for them, since it's going to be catering to that interest. It's just a place where you can meet up, hang out with your friends, and just do what you want to do. I think that they would pretty much steer their interest. Speaking for myself, again, we're more of a we are a clan, but we do have that social aspects to us. We play everything. And we do multiple things. I'm pretty sure these guys do that as well. Again, I can't speak for them. All I know is that there are going to be communities out there. I just hope that I know the positive ones. They're gonna work it out. They're smart. They're a good team, and they're gonna see it through. But the ones that are going to be out there just counter groups or whatever the stuff, they're not gonna last. They're gonna wither away. The positive ones are gonna stick. They're gonna figure out a way. And I think with these new platforms setting up, I mean that's gonna probably be a good place for them. So they might be interested in that. But again, I'm speaking for them and I shouldn't. But it's tough, man. It's tough to say. It's tough to answer that.
Well, how would you answer that, Trunks?
Well, what's going to happen to the groups and us?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to stay around as long as we want. Once any other changes, we moved to PS4, the current generation, with little to no problems. Everything is ran over smoothly, and I'm excited for the future in that. A very good events going. Same stuff, same formula, just different, different platforms. As for the other groups, I don't like to speak for other people, but you ask questions. What I think is going to happen to the other groups like the Hammies and those guys, and this is like no shots at all, because I don't even know these guys, but I haven't seen them do much post like 2010, to be quite honest. I think they have like one meeting a month or whatever. I have no clue. This is just what I've heard secondhand. I wish them the best, but what I think is really going to happen, I think that they'll move on. PS4, a bunch of guys will move on and they'll leave, and they'll just form new groups. These type of things that are only like, well, first and foremost, just to wrap this up, when a group is only dependent on one service and they have no other aspirations to do anything else other than go and put it at home, which I'm not saying that's what that group does specific, but there are some groups who do, then you're not going to really last a lot. It's just a generalization. Most groups will go in home and say this is our end all be all, and I don't think that should be a person's, goal. If that's what your goal is to keep a group, I don't think you should only be on one platform or one service, to determine, like your basically to determine your groups. I guess you could say support. So what I think is going to happen to them, I think that a lot of these groups are going to disperse. They're going to go join Call of Duty clans, join, Destiny clans, join a bunch of other games, and they'll just, like all groups fade out. All I know is that I can say for us is that we're going to be here for much longer time. We're going to be here doing the same events, the same things, and I'm not worried about the future at all for us, and I wish the people who still have those groups the best of luck. That's about it.
Yeah, I agree. Anything to add, Gamer?
Honestly, talking about this, upsets me a little bit. With us, of course, as everyone else said, we'll be moving on to the PS4. It sounds like, I believe most of us, except maybe, 4 or 5 of us have the PS4 already. And with like these other groups, it's like since they don't play games. I mean, I'm not really saying that the groups themselves, but like the individual people should choose what they want to do. I mean, since like the homies and hammings, those were home groups. They're kind of like stuck there in a way. I mean, like if they want to move on, so I was like, man, turn it into like a gaming thing. Well, then that's cool and all. But like some of the people that I met on home and slams, like this really annoys me. Saying that like they're never gonna support Sony, or they're not gonna buy a PS4 or like anything unless like something like Home is on the PS4 and whatnot. And slams, like you should never buy a gaming console ever for like a social platform or like streaming Netflix or whatever. The main reason you should ever buy a gaming console is to play games. As well as like I was a kid when I had my PS2, but like I got my PS3. I wanted a PS3 because I was looking forward to MGS4, and that was two years off from the release of the PS3. I got my PS4 because because of Killzone Shadowfall and for this clan. So I was like, I wanted to continue on. I got my Vita actually just because I wanted to earn more trophies, but still. But like, yeah, all is like, you should never buy a gaming console in first place if the main thing you're gonna do on it is just like anything but playing games. So it's like that's a huge way of wasting money. Because it's like, especially these days, these people who want to just like socialize and whatnot, they do have other means to socialize. I mean, you got Facebook, Twitter, you got Avakin, you got these other social platforms that you can go see. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It's like no one talks about Second Life anymore.
I mean, I agree.
But like, it is.
I also think that what you say has validity to it because just real quick. I think that when your only purpose as a group or as a person, I guess, is to get something so you can talk to people who are like you, I understand that want. I mean, I think it's natural, like human nature, to want to get on and socialize with people who do the same things as you. But to spend like $400, $500 on something and then only access one feature, I feel like it's like buying a Ferrari but only taking it to the corner store. You know what I'm saying? You're not going on the highway. You're not, bumping music in it. You're really just going to the corner store and back to your house every day. And I think that you're not unlocking the actual potential that you spent all this money on. So yeah, I think Nick is right in that aspect that it is a huge waste of money, and I wish that the people who did, think that home was their only option, I want them to realize that there are games coming to PS4 that they should honestly give a try to at least, just give a chance because you're missing out. But then again, I can't force anyone to like anything.
Yeah, there's so much diversity out there among all the different genres and subgenres of games that there's got to be something out there that they would like, and something out there that has some sort of social aspect that they would like. So I can see them trying to transition over, and hopefully they will. What about you, Tim?
Me personally, I think all these websites that basically run on home, they might try to transition and do other things, branch out, look for other stuff. Kind of use this as like a springboard to look for other things to do. They're like, oh, well, I know how to run a website now, so technically you could try and turn that into a business and make money off of it. It kind of depends on your initiative and your drive, and kind of depends on the person. As far as like the people that only use home as a hangout spot, I'm sure they'll be fine. They'll, find something else to do.
They got Facebook.
Yeah. Like, hey, let's play Angry Birds, or let's play, this game on Facebook. I'll give you a coal and you'll give me a mouse.
Candy Crush.
Yeah. Personally, for my side of what we plan on doing, personally, like, Ghastly Studios right now is actually looking at things like Little Big Planet 3 and other games like that where we can possibly do something like what we did, but also I'm kind of looking into going to school for digital animation and video effects so I can actually create my own content. So, like, I can be like, hey, I want to make that character, so I can actually go out and make that and be like, hey, I made this.
Create your own character models, use those for machinimas.
It's wonderful. That was an inspiration.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I can do that, that'd be awesome.
Bro, go for it, bro.
So, yeah.
That's I'm gonna say right now, man, that's like there's a lot like getting into that field, man. There's a lot of like opportunity there, especially where you're at right now, man. I mean, you're part of the MVP program. You're passionate about PlayStation. You're gonna be getting into that field, dude. Like, yeah, man, that's a really good direction, man. Go for it. Like, yeah, I'm gonna say right now, man, you got one heck of a recommendation with the stuff you're doing here at with PlayStation. So
yeah, Doing a great job, Tim.
Mm.
See you going good ways. Well, I guess the laws for the groups are the same as the sites. Diversify, adapt, in order to survive. And that's certainly what we've done. We've gone from the Killzone 2 clan to a PlayStation Home, and then we use PlayStation Home as a stepping stone to create gaming clans and other games such as Killzone 3, Mercenaries, but also Grand Theft Auto 5, and some other games out there. Little Big Planet 2, which technically doesn't have a clan system, I know, but we have game nights for that as well.
Uncharted.
Or 3, Uncharted, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
We had Mag. We had so many people on our roster.
Yeah, and from there we blew up. We have
Bad Princess.
Facebook pages, YouTube channels,
Twitter
so
accounts.
Twitter.
for us, we kind of progressed and we used it. So we adapted and we will survive. Hopefully, those other core groups, especially the really great ones, they'll do the same. If not, worst case scenario, the groups may fold, but they'll probably always stay friends with people they had tight connections with within those groups.
Mm-hmm.
And so if nothing else, they still have those bonds. So that's something nice to carry forward. But among some of those people, a lot of those really passionate, I won't call them extremes, but a lot of those really passionate PlayStation Home people, some of them, have been posting and supporting petitions to keep Home going. Now, do you think, Gamer, this will have any impact on Sony's decision as to whether or not to port PlayStation Home to the PS4?
Absolutely not. So it was like the first petition I saw was like a petition to get like a rare refund and whatnot. And so I was like, I understand people want money from like, you know, service that they spend into, and so I was like, it's getting shut down. But again, if you read the TOS, you should know what you're getting into, and don't be demanding your money back when you should know what you're getting into. So it's like you don't buy like an iPhone phone, and it's like just like do everything without knowing like or having any kind of idea of like what you're getting into. So I was like, I never bought an Apple product because I don't trust it. And sounds like home. Sounds like I knew what I was doing. I knew that like I wasn't gonna get my money back, but I like paid into the service because I knew that like one day it was gonna happen. But I wanted to enjoy it like now while I could. But like with these petitions, it's absolutely pointless. Paul Sullivan, one of the community managers, said on the forums. I believe it was like that. You can't be refunded for like an online service or anything as far as Sony goes. But like I don't think I ever seen a petition going to get it onto the PS4.
Oh, they're out there.
Oh yeah, there actually are out
PSN
there.
messages, yeah.
I've seen them.
Talk about some of the ones you've seen, Tim.
Well, mostly it's just like change.org, and they're like, hey, you know what? We've got like, I think they have to have like 100,000 people, and then like, I think they send it to like the president or somebody in the U.S. government, and they have to look at it, and they have to like make a decision about it. At most, all they have to do is be like, oh, hey, you know, it's got 100,000 signatures, so we have to look at it, and we have to say something. We don't actually have to do anything, but, I mean, it's kind of like the deal with the Death Star. There was a petition going around about the United States military building a Death Star, and it got like over 100,000 signatures, so they're like, oh, well, I guess we have to look at it. And they looked at it, and then they said no, and they're like, it would be uncostly, and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, there are petitions out there for pretty much anything. I mean, you could even start one yourself. It doesn't cost any money. So, I mean, there's plenty of petitions out there.
Yeah, I like the one that have Justin Bieber deported.
Yeah. I like that one, actually. I support that one.
Would that work?
It didn't work.
I'm
But,
curious.
I mean,
I'm like, if you actually get enough signatures, like, if the whole country like signs it, would that be legal? Would that be like constitutional?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I mean, sure, it's
The whole country wants
a
to be
petition,
legal.
but
Is
I
it
mean,
constitutional to remove someone? just because like they don't want you there.
As long
think
as
everyone
he
has
doesn't
deserves the
violate
right to
the
their-
terms of his visa,
Yeah.
then yeah.
What do you think about the petition, Sons?
I don't know. I think it's silly. I think it's just to be honest. I'm gonna say something like from what I've seen and experienced. Like when you have a company like they have ambitions, they got these new things they want to go. They got a new direction they want to do. You got a company that always looks towards the future. This company never looks back. Right? They just look ahead. All right. And when you're trying to bring things back that doesn't that's broken and carry it over to the future. Let's just face it, home had problems, man. Like I mean, I as much as I love PlayStation Home, I loved it, I used it, but it was extremely high maintenance. You can tell that it was very costly for the company. I mean, it was costly for the users. I lost 2 hard drives because of PlayStation Home because of the negligence that's going on in there, and people like freezing servers. I lost 2 hard drives. That's pretty expensive stuff, But I continued using Home because I mean I loved it. But is it practical? I mean, do you want to bring that service to the next gen? I mean, there's with all of its shenanigans going on. I mean, is it worth it?
I mean, if they
It got
fixed
to the
everything, then
point
yeah.
that like right now it's Sony's focused on the new stuff. I mean, they had an incredible launch with the PlayStation 4. They're winning right now. They're currently leading the as of this podcast. They're currently leading the the console race for consoles. They want to stay there. They want to keep that lead. All their focus is on that. So when people are saying, "Well, drop your focus and try to bring stuff up that's kind of broken and bring it over here," no, it's like let the indie developers go ahead and raise money, and if you really want it, tell your friends about it, motivate your friends, help their Kickstarter, help those indie devs get that program, and there you go. But let Sony focus on the primary stuff. Let Sony focus on delivering the actual games on a console, which is what it's meant for. I mean, that's what I kind of want to see. I'm gonna be honest. The PlayStation 4's interface is a social network on its own. It's literally Facebook for PlayStation. It has you have your own profile pictures. You can comment. You can like your trophies. You can like your own trophy. I mean, dude, like it's literally Facebook. There's no need. I mean, if you want a social media network or a site, whatever, I mean, you have the interface of the PS4 itself is a social network.
Right, so PlayStation's just providing a lot of the same features as Home, just in a different way.
And even better, to the point. I mean, you got to the point you can actually be playing AAA titles, and you could be in chats with people. Like, I mean, that's awesome. That's something that people have been asking for last gen, or this gen has it now. You can be talking to people on the PS4, or you can be talking to them while you're on the Vita. It has, you can, dude, it's crazy the stuff you can do right now. And when you see something like PlayStation Home, it's like it's dated. It was awesome back then because that was new, but right now it's just not really practical. You can still enjoy it. You got Kickstarters working on releasing something similar to Home for those social things that people want to do, just to stand around and talk about their diabetes or whatever. I don't know, but that's cool and all. So they're working on that, but I think that Sony they have their vision right now on a bigger picture. Like these guys are artists. They want to paint something new.
So these petitions aren't going really anywhere.
Yeah, I think they're just gonna they're not gonna repay. Their focus is on these new projects, and this old stuff. I guess the indie devs can go ahead and pick those things up if they want.
You agree, Trunks?
The question was that petitions or something.
Yeah, do you think these petitions for PlayStation Home to be ported to PS4 are going to go anywhere?
No, they haven't gone anywhere. I mean, fucking bitching about, oh my god, give me back my money. Alright, you can read the terms of service. It says right in there, clear as day. It says that at any time, Sony can terminate the service, and all the purchases that you have bought are not going to be reimbursed. It's a one-time thing, and at your own risk. So these bitch-ass petitions are going nowhere. Bum-ass motherfuckers who are talking like, oh my goodness, I'm going to sue Sony for all this and that. You're not going to do anything. Go play your fucking games. Stop crying and get over it. Home is dead. Next person.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree with everything that everyone has said. As far as PlayStation Home being ported to PS4, I highly doubt. I'm like 99% positive that's not going to happen. Sony could always just like shock the hell out of everyone at 2 E3s from now and be like,
with that 1%.
Yeah, but I highly doubt that's going to happen. The petitions, I think they really are well meant, but I don't think anything's going to come of it. As far as people getting refunds, no, it's just like DLC for a video game. You know, if you buy DLC for a game that's online only and the game goes down, you're not being reimbursed for that DLC. And that's essentially what PlayStation Home is. It's an online only game with a ton of DLC in little snippets. So,
And it's a beta.
Yeah. That's true too.
Yeah, so
It's
come
not
on,
even a
dude.
full game.
Yeah.
You can't complain, dude. I mean,
One
honestly,
hell of a beta.
you paid for this items, you ran around like the freaking nut on PlayStation Home, you enjoyed it. That's it, you got your money's worth. How many hours did you spend running around on home with that item you bought? Alright, how much did it cost? How much money do you make in an hour? Guess what, you made your money back. You had fun with your item.
There you go.
So stop complaining. You made your money back by enjoying your item, and that's it, dude. Why are you gonna chill, bro? These developers gotta eat, man. You know, we're gonna take you have them eat, and then you're gonna be like, all right, give me back your food. Like, you know, I already enjoyed that. I enjoyed the product you created me. Now, you know, I need empty your refrigerator and give me back all your food that I gave you. You know, like, nah, chill, dude. The developer earned it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, chill with that, dude. That money, you know, goes to the developers, man. That's their content. You know, they work for that. You know, you bought it, you enjoyed their item that they created, and that's it. Stop asking, you know, I want my money back and all this stuff. That's mad selfish, man. But whatever, you know, that's how it is, bro.
Alright. Well, last topic for the night. Let's start with Tim. Do you think anything will ever come along, either from PlayStation or a third-party company, that will replicate in some or all aspects PlayStation Home? Do you think maybe it'll try to replicate what Home was, or do you think it might take a different approach to Home? Maybe because I know when PlayStation Home started off, it seemed like it was headed towards a different direction. And as someone has mentioned earlier, I was going to say Phil Spencer, Phil Harrison left, and that vision kind of changed for Home, and it turned into something different. Though it also, I would say, probably changed to reflect the community or the perceived interest of the community within PlayStation Home. But do you think any company will come along to try and replicate what Home did, or perhaps improve upon its original design?
Let me go ahead and
Alright, go ahead.
when it comes to PlayStation Home and anything that is going to be its spiritual successor, I think that I will say this right now. I do believe that we are getting a spiritual successor to PlayStation Home, but I do not believe it is going to be an MMO-based, virtual reality thing. I don't think it's going to be that. I don't think it's going to be anything of the sort. I believe that, I'm going to be honest, I'm going to go on a limb. I have no sources on this. I have no facts on it. This is just a hunch that I think Sony would be interested in. With Sony having 10 million plus sold on the PS4, which are great numbers, by the way, I think that they're going to look into kind of expanding PS4 market. And I think one thing that they're going to do is try to invest in kind of a social network for gamers that is only available on PS4 and smartphones. I think that'll be the new PlayStation Home. I think they're going to take the best things from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, all the sites and whatnot, the Reddit, all those things, and then put it into one service, and then have that be the spiritual successor. So I think that will be immensely successful. I think people are just addicted to posting pictures of their food. So I definitely think people would be addicted to posting pictures of the new games that they just bought. The gaming community is way larger than people on Instagram. So I would imagine that being something that's very lucrative for them. And in the long run, I think it would make them millions of dollars if it took off. But it has to be right. It has to be something that is easy and accessible and something where gamers can come around, and just meet random people and organize claims. That's one thing I think Sony should really invest in. If they can really get a resurgence back into the Korean community of people just wanting to get back together and play games, I think Sony has a gem on their hands, and I think that they will have a good success in the long run. So.
Alright.
Personally, I think this was just basically, Sony's console version of a free MMO, to be honest. I mean, really the only difference is you had multiple companies and multiple developers involved in it over a series of time, as opposed to just like one developer, and there wasn't a whole lot of leveling up per se. So I mean, there are several different things out there like Second Life and DC Universe Online and Final Fantasy 14. I mean, basically, I think what they were trying to do is they're like, hey, you know what? At the time, there wasn't any. I mean, Final Fantasy 11 was on PS2, but you had to have like a separate modem for that. So basically, I think they were just like, hey, this is pretty much a console version of a MMO. That had,
Well, I mean, Final Fantasy versions, I think they're all paid services, though.
yeah,
I don't think they were free.
yeah, this is basically, Sony's free MMO, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, free to play, supported by DLC.
Yeah.
And
They had another one. Didn't they have free roams? Another free MMO they had. What happened to that?
That closed.
That closed? I didn't even know it closed. Like, man. I think, how long that last? Like, what, like a few years or? Okay.
No, I want to say like maybe 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
You spent money on that? Was the people who actually spent money had microtransactions?
Well, I think the thing was, there was only 2 things you really got for the money. I could be wrong about this because I never played it, but I did read up a bit on it a while ago. And that was, there are certain in-game items that you could get by paying for them. But the main lure for many people, or at least for me, was that if you were to pay money and actually buy the game, you would get trophies. If you chose to play it for free, then you could not unlock any trophies in the game.
Oh, okay.
So,
alright, they're taking advantage of the
yeah, that's what DCUR did.
That's cool.
So, what about you, Gabriel?
Alright, was the top, we're going with the,
Do you think a service will come along to replicate PlayStation Home on the PS4?
you know what, there's gonna be lots of them. They're gonna have a lot of clones. I mean, you already see the type of, like, amount of people that are already accustomed to home. They already built a routine with PlayStation Home. And, I mean, they're gonna be all antsy that they don't got nothing like home around. So, you're gonna have a lot of developers gonna want to cash in on that. So, yes, you will have clones of PlayStation Home. We're seeing it already. We got all these, Kickstarters going on. I think, yeah, you're gonna see a lot of it. I think that the social media stuff, PlayStation Home made 3 times the money that they put in. Anytime they dropped in an item, they made their money back in 3 folds. They made a lot. These developers got a lot of money from home. It's digital content. Take one item, copy and paste, multiply it as much as you want. You never lose anything. There's no material costs. You don't need to publish cases or booklets or anything. No, nothing. It's all digital. And yeah, they made their money back. And you know what? All these developers that see that they want to create something like this, they can make so much money about it. I mean, the only problem is that it becomes high maintenance in the long run. With patches, you release an item that's buggy, and it's like, oh, I gotta, look at that. You're gonna need a lot of people. Then you need the moderation, because this is a social network, so you gotta, you want to make sure it's family friendly. Then it's gonna become like a pain in the neck in the long run. Then you're gonna have people that are gonna be investing their time in glitching, causing problems. What are you gonna do with them? They discover a problem with the thing. I mean, how long was Home a beta? They never got out of it. I don't think, every time one of these type of games come out, it's not gonna ever be finished. So I mean, yeah, we're gonna see these clones coming out. Are they gonna be great? To be honest, I don't know if it's gonna be better than Home, because if people start finding out problems with it and exploiting those problems, will these developers be up for the challenge that the Home devs had? Can they exceed it? These are a lot of questions I'm curious about. A lot of people ask me, are we gonna get back onto one of these social media games that are gonna be coming out for the PS4? Are we gonna get involved? To be honest, I don't know if we are gonna get involved, because I want to see what they got first. I want to see if it's stable enough, to house, the stuff that we do. I don't want to just lead the group into okay, we're all going to be going here, and then it's a total flop. I want to make sure it's a solid platform for us, to do our stuff and host our events, and cater to that. But yeah, there's definitely going to be clones out there. We're going to see a lot of it, and yeah, I mean, if the indie devs are capable of doing it, home is going to be very expensive to run. Something similar to home will be very expensive to run, but they will make their money back as long as they're delivering content, like digital content. They're going to be making that. I mean, everyone wants to show off. Everyone wants to be different. Everybody wants to express themselves, and everyone wants to be like, "Oh, look, I got this item before you did." And there's people that want to, just show off that they're able to buy a gold suit that's worth $15, like $15, and they want to show off they have money. So yeah, you know what? They can release ridiculous items and make their money like crazy. So there's people out there willing to, burn the money, and as long as there's going to be people like that, there's developers are going to listen to them, and they're gonna cater to them. And yes, there will be other social media games, such as Home, if you want to call them games.
Yeah, I think you're right. What about you, gamer? Original Home, PlayStation Home MVP. What say you?
Well, with like everything I'm hearing, I'm pretty sure that there'll be like clones of Home in a way. It's like Adam Republic wants to do their thing. So Mad Monkey wants to do their thing with Neotopia. That's not gonna happen. By the way, they have the Kickstarter, and sounds like they were asking for $250, or no, 250,000 like euros,
Quarter of a
pounds,
million.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But I checked that a couple days ago when they had like 10 days left. They only had 30,000. Neotopia is not gonna happen. But like I'm pretty sure we'll get something. But what that something is and who it's by, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think some developers out there are definitely going to try. I don't know how successful it's going to be, but I wish them luck. I mean, as Gabriel said earlier, there's a lot of challenges that developers would have to overcome in order to create something that's even close to what PlayStation Home was in the beta, which it never got out of. I don't know. I can't imagine a company really doing that. Not to say it can't be done, but just doing that is quite a monumental task in my mind.
Yeah.
Sony is open to indie devs, man. So it's like, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be a PC indie dev that does something like that. And hey, you never know. So I'm like, hey, how would you like to bring this over here?
Could be.
Isn't Second Life an indie game?
I don't know.
I believe.
Bro, if that's an indie game. Why does Sony bring that over here?
Yeah,
Why
it's
not?
not going to
It's
bring it.
so open-minded to
It's
indie devs.
adult rated.
Yeah, it's pretty old though. Yeah. But if there's ever a new one, I'm pretty sure there will be. That genre is not going to die out anytime soon. So
Yeah.
Facebook the game, maybe that'll happen. Well, I think we all agree that Home did a lot for us. Gave us an open forum to meet up and outside of a game environment, people that we probably never would have met because we play some pretty different games aside from, of course, the Killzone franchise. But it allowed us to do some great, creative, fun stuff, create some productive projects like our Facebook pages and our machinimas and this podcast. And PlayStation did it all for free. And I will always, like I said earlier, be grateful to PlayStation and to Sony for that.
Definitely.
It's sad to see it go, but I'm always reminded of that Dr. Seuss quote: "Don't be sad because it's over, but be happy because it happened." Anyone else have anything to add?
A new adventure begins tomorrow. But yeah, I think as long as you have the passion, the drive, and the right team, then it's possible to pull it off.
Yep,
And look
definitely.
what we did.
Yep, definitely. What we're gonna be doing. It's
Yeah.
not gonna stop there, dude. There's so much more, man. The new chapter is a new generation, new saga, bro. And we gotta look forward, and that's what we're gonna do. So.
Definitely. Thank you, PlayStation. We'll be in Home till the doors close in some fashion or another. Thank you to our listeners. By the time you hear this podcast, it'll probably be close to Halloween, so happy Halloween. And,
Yay!
Ghastly Media, podcast episode 4, signing off. See you next time.
Bye!
See ya.